I act as a part-time nonviolent communication facilitator. This is a process that was started by Marshall Rosenberg for conflict resolution. It involves 4 parts: observation, feeling, need, request. Well, the past several months, my group has been focusing more deeply on feelings. There's a lot of power and healing when we go deeply into one feeling at a time. I started nonviolent communication because I was often at war with myself and also to manage conflict with others, which happens. I had been miffed about something with my roommate. I sat with a friend and started to look deeply at anger, like a scientist in a lab would do, under a microscope, in its raw state, without the story. In a petri dish. Fear. You see, fear is often at the bottom of anger. And I realized that fear's been running my life in so many ways, decisions big and small. Where is it safe? What about you? I remember when there was a gun in my face when I worked in a bookstore in Manhattan. No problem there. I was scared. I held up my hands. I let him take what was in the drawer. But my Toastmasters talk was another thing. That was a different kind of fear. Let's look at fear together for a moment, if you're willing. Think of something you have felt fear about. Notice the fear. You can't touch it. You can't hear it. You can't taste it. You can't really see it. Then what is it? How bizarre that a cloud so nebulous is so powerful as to run my life decisions. Well, the other morning I was meditating, and all of a sudden there it was, a greased pig. Now, you may have not heard of a greased pig, but I grew up in the Midwest, where often at a county fair or a state fair, a pig is lathered up with grease or Crisco and let go. And there is a free-for-all of men and boys running to catch it. It's actually very funny. Well, in my meditation, I ran that little greased pig, that little sucker, into a pen, and I closed the gate on him. Ha! I thought, when it settles down, I'm going to get a prod, open the gate, and send that little sucker down the road. Find another pasture, you little bloke, and wreak havoc in that. No space in my yard anymore. To me, fear is a greased pig. It's capable of untold damages when it runs wild. Yep. You know, FDR said, and I love this quote, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance." We fear Iran, so we propose a war. We fear losing our housing. We fear not having health care. We fear losing our jobs. We fear earthquakes. We fear extinction. But if we keep acting from the stance of believing this formless entity has a real existence, we will continue to make decisions that have negative impacts in our lives. Wars, drugs, drink, suicide, beatings, killings. Think about it. What part does fear play in your life? I was thinking, the next time that little greased pig shows up for me, I'm going to get him in the pen, and then I'm going to sit down with him and offer him an apple. And as he munches on that apple, I might say, "What do you really want, Mr. Fear?" Make friends with him, giving him a little something to settle him down. And then we might go a little bit deeper and find out what he needs. And then we can work together to find a solution. Maybe it's time to sit down and discuss fear and the part it plays in our lives, with our so-called enemies, with ourselves, with the world.